Happy Easter.
It's been canceled due to lack of interest.
Hey folks, Michael Raso Film Photography Project. I'm here with John Fideli.
Hey, baby.
Hi, John. The sleek, awesome, amazing Nikkorex 8. So just give you an idea of the size of this camera.
Look at the size of it.
This camera does require batteries in order to run.
What kind of batteries?
Well, thank you for asking, John. When you're buying this online, let's say on eBay.com or Goodwill online, you need to be concerned that the battery and compartment isn't corroded. It takes regular 8mm film, also known as double 8 film. It's readily available from the Film Photography Project. This camera has a fixed 10mm lens, f1.8, which is fantastic. Here is your shutter button. Here is the sensor, the CDS sensor cell of your light meter. This is very important. Whenever you're purchasing something like this, vintage online, it's always best if you buy one that was stored in a bag so that this light meter sensor was not exposed. So on this side of your camera, here is your aperture, and A is set for automatic, which when the camera is running, the light sensor will see the light and adjust the f-stop. Can you see the various f-stops we have here?
Yes.
Good. So if, let's say you don't want to use the automatic mode, which by the way, this camera has 2 sets of batteries. One set of batteries to run the motor, and another battery, a button cell, which I'm going to talk about, that runs this light meter. But let's say your light meter doesn't work, or you don't bother putting a battery in it. You can take this out of A, and by doing that, do you see on the side?
Yeah.
You could set your aperture manual, and you could just set your f-stop. That's a great thing because in many cameras, the light meter, if it's burned out or it's not working properly, you can just use this as a manual camera. Here is your footage counter, S start, and it'll run through the 25 feet of film till it's empty. Here on the side of your camera, watch this.
Oh, what?
This is your eyepiece, and then there's a little pop out here. Do you see that? Now that pop out is for Nikon made a little adapter, a telephoto adapter, which I don't own. You would look through here. This is a fixed focus camera. There's no focusing involved. This folds back up. Look at that, beautiful.
Cool.
Here on the bottom of your camera, this is where it takes 4 AA batteries. Look at that. That runs the motor. Top, well, very important. Here on the top of your camera is the ASA, which these days is called ISO. So let's say you're shooting FPP Cine 8 Color 40. Unlike digital photography, the ISO is the film. So whatever film you're putting in your camera, that is the ISO for the duration of your roll. You cannot change the ISO. So you would go to the top of your camera and you would dial in, look at that, ISO 40. That's excellent. This camera can go down to ISO 5, if you can find film that low, or go all the way up to ISO 100, which is great for using modern day Cine 8 Ektachrome film, which is ISO 100. That's all terrific. Here we have our film compartment. This takes double 8 film. This is your take-up spool. Your camera, make sure it comes with a take-up spool. If you do not have one in any of your cameras, you could buy a new take-up spool from the Film Photography Project. The instruction booklet for this camera is online, which I found and I downloaded. And it showed me a very unique and different way of loading. Unlike if you've seen any of my other videos, many times I put the roll on here first, and then I snake it through, and then I put it. This instruction shows you a new way of doing it. 8mm film is film it's this wide, which is, it's 16 millimeters in width, because the great thing about double 8 is that these little cameras, you shoot your film twice. You shoot side one, and then you will take your film and put it through the camera second time and shoot the other side. What you will wind up when you get your film back from the lab, this is photosensitive material, so you do have to get your film developed in order to see images is you'll see side by side 2 8mm images side by side that get slit either electronically or slit in the laboratory to give you what winds up being 50 feet of film. How do you load your film? Well, here's your take-up spool, and there's an arrow on it, and you take your film and you put your film on the take-up. You wind a little bit of it on it. Great. And then, as per the instructions, you take your film like so, just like in the instruction manual. Yeah, look at that. Now, what you'll notice is that the shiny, darker side is facing away from the lens. That's because the photosensitive, the light-sensitive part of your film, the lighter side, the duller side, faces the lens because, light and in your image is coming through the lens and hitting this photosensitive material, which, when developed, creates an image. It really is fascinating. You take this little door. This is your frame counter, by the way. You open this little door here. See that? Look. So you take your film. Here it is, as described. You put it... By the way, this is the first time I'm actually loading it this way. I usually load it totally differently, but I'm just going by the... Oh, boy. Put your take-up film on here. Put your film behind the gate. Here's the film gate. See that? Look at that. The film gate has a pressure plate. It's on a spring, and it's called a pressure plate.
Pressure.
And you put, as described on the instructions, you put your film here, here. Oh, that's it.
Run it.
I'm going to run it. Once again, this is a test roll, so this is really not filled with much film, but that's very, very exciting. By the way, I'm going to show you where the battery is for the light meter in a second, so don't tune out.
Keep the show going. Don't end the show, though.
Now, what's very important is once you entomb your film, you need to shoot your entire side one, and do not open this to check to see if your film is done, because every time you open this while shooting, you will be exposing your film to light and ruining part of your roll. What you need to check is this film counter. Once you shoot side one, then you open your compartment. Okay, you will flip this.
Flip it.
Like that. Great. You will take your, what was your full film roll, you will take it. You will take your, what was your full roll, and now you will flip this.
Flip it.
And then you will do the same exercise again. And, just to show you really quickly, as you can see here, there are arrows here. So the film, on your film roll, you follow the arrow, goes behind this spoolie thing, through the film gate, through this other post, follow the arrows. It's really, really easy. You put your film on what is now the take-up, because the concept of what you're doing is the film, after shooting side two, will wind up back on your original spool, and your camera, your take-up spool, will always remain with your camera empty when you're done. So we're going to do the same thing here. Open this little door. You're going to put the film behind the film gate, and there it is. There it is. You have to just make sure that your film is where it needs to be. Here, behind this post, through the film gate, past this post here, and then to your take-up spool, as such. Ah, look at that. That's terrific. So once again, you will seal up your camera.
And go make memories.
Yes, and go make some memories. You would take your shot film, which is back on the original roll that it came with, and then you will put it either in the black bag or tin that came with the film. Okay, what else? Well, one of the most important things here is the battery that runs your light meter. And the strange things about this, and I'll show you how to also test the light meter, is I couldn't figure out where this battery was. So I went online and I found the instruction manual. And can you believe, will you believe, that the battery is hiding. Look, I mean, you're not going to believe this. Check this out. There's a secret compartment.
Look at the size of it.
That's nuts. What's prescribed is this battery right here, which was called a PX14 2.6 mercury battery. This was in the early 1960s. Now, these days, mercury batteries no longer exist.
Poison.
Yes, if you want to use your camera as an automatic camera, which is what I want to use it as, you will make a small modification in order to get a modern day battery for this camera. So, for example, the instruction manual right here calls for a Mallory PX14. So what I did was I went to batterymart.com and I typed in PX14, and the equivalent is a modern day A14PX. The problem is, and I don't know why, folks, that this new A14PX 3-volt alkaline battery is a little too short in order to make the connection. So what to do? You take some what's known as aluminium paper in the UK. Here in the US, this is known as aluminum foil. You take a little slice, right? Just a little slice, not much. Literally just slice off a little piece of the aluminium paper, and you make a little, you just kind of like,
You're looking to fill the gap.
Yes, and this is, which may not be known to most folks, is of a conductive
nature.
Yes, thank you, John. And you will take your battery, and you will probably curse and holler because it has to be done a certain way. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to slide the battery in, right? Here we go. Okay, close the door. Here's the door. Lift it up, lifts up. Up. That's it. Okay, going to put it on auto. A for auto.
Auto.
Do you see?
Yep. Moving, man. Magic.
So now this is an operating light meter. Now what had happened, folks, this is very important. I shot 2 rolls of film in this camera about a month ago, and then I just put this on my shelf like that. And what happened was in the months is that the little piece of aluminium paper, it started to settle, and the battery lost its connection. Huh. So before you go out for your day of shooting, I would do a quick test to make sure that your light meter is working. And the way to test an automatic light meter of any camera that has an automatic light meter is to just simply take your phone, put the flashlight on, and then have your camera in darkness, and then, you see that? Yeah. As you bring it to light, you will see it actually work. With this particular camera, when the camera is idle, the meter is off. When you press your shutter in the front, all of a sudden, the meter becomes active. The Nikkorex 8mm camera. I shot a test roll of this while I was in Ohio during the FPP podcast recording. I shot a roll of Ektachrome at my parents' house for Easter dinner. If you folks have any questions, you can email me, michael@filmphotographyproject.com. And of course, you could leave comments down below. It's a highly recommended camera. It's really a nice, neat marvel of science that's fully automatic, and I hope you'll consider picking one up, and we'll talk to you soon.